Sometimes the greatest opportunities are born from tragedy. This grand 100-year-old home underwent a tragic arson fire that resulted in severe smoke damage from head to toe. The good news is that no one was injured in the fire, and after the restoration is complete, the home will be brand new on the inside. This series of videos will take you through the restoration process. We'll give you valuable tips on what to consider in your renovation or restoration project, whether it's a small reno or a full rebuild. I hope you'll follow the series of videos as they unfold. Hi there, welcome back. It's been many months since we were last here. The restoration is complete, and I'm really excited to show you the results. If you remember, the last time we were here, this majestic 100-year-old beauty had recently been affected by smoke damage from a fire. And the entire 4 floors, from the basement all the way up to the 3rd floor, had to be demoed. All the contents, all the floor finishing and building materials had to be stripped right back to the stone brick as you see it here. It was a very lengthy and costly restoration, but I think the results speak for themselves. So let's go in and have a look. Let's go into the owner's office. Now, the owner, being the smart man that he is, he took this opportunity to rebuild his office, not just to current codes, but also to the building that he's always wanted. He wanted it to be comfortable, he wanted it to be efficient, and he wanted it to be an attractive environment that he and his staff would love to come and work in. And personally, I was thrilled to be the person to help him do that. So to start the process, the team got together, so meaning the homeowner, the designer, and the contractor, and we talked about what was really important to the client himself. And we put a lot of thought and a lot of budget into those areas. The first was cost-saving efficiencies. So new roof, new shingles were put on the building, new eaves troughs with a gutter guard was added to the building so he wouldn't have to pay somebody on a yearly basis to get up to the top and clean out the gutters. New windows were in. Originally the windows were wood, and just to save money on the rebuild and to be more efficient, we used vinyl thermal windows throughout the whole building. And on the main floor, to sort of speak to the age of the home, we put transoms on the top of those windows. We also added high-efficiency furnace and air conditioner to cut down on costs. And we took advantage of this opportunity to add insulation. The original building had no insulation whatsoever, so we framed out the walls and blew in spray foam insulation. And the homeowner himself has found a tremendous saving in heating, in cooling, and even in noise reduction from the busy street outside. The client was also very concerned about technology for the business itself. He wanted to make sure the business could perform optimally and smoothly. So we took advantage of all the walls being stripped to cable in Cat 5, Cat 6 for all computer, TV, and phone requirements. In addition to that cabling, we installed a GeoVision eye on the front door because sometimes there's nobody on the main floor to answer the door. So what the GeoVision eye is, it's a video doorbell that if somebody comes to the door, computers upstairs are notified and they can let the person in from their desk. The client's third area of importance was layout. So being at the stage we're in with a demo, it was really easy to tear down some walls, put up some other walls to make sure that each area really functioned for its specific purpose. The fourth item on the client's list was security. So while the walls were bare, we decided to hardwire in a very high-end security system throughout the building. So there are perimeter cameras, high definition cameras with 4K resolution that monitor the building constantly. There is perimeter and interior alarm system, glass break detectors on the main floor. We even put in a shatterproof film on the windows of the main floor. And for the separate garage, the security system works all the way out there. So he's set. The reason that we chose hardwire, even though it's more expensive, we decided that that was the choice to take because it is a much more stable, much more reliable system than a wireless system. And lastly on the client's list was decor and styling. So we wanted to ensure a couple of things. We wanted to make sure that the finishes that we chose, the furniture and the style of elements that we brought in not only spoke to and paid respect to the age of the home, but also the type of business that he runs here. So that's how the process began. So now if you remember from previous episodes, we've always talked about this buffer in your budget. Well, here's the reason why, a really good reason why. We certainly fell into our fair share of unknowns during this project. The first one was because this is a 100-year-old home and because it's used as an office, we had to make sure that it was brought up to code specific for an office environment. And that meant that on the floor between the basement and this ground floor, we had to significantly reinforce that floor with several steel I-beams to make our home inspector happy, and you always want to keep your home inspector happy. We had to do that to the tune of approximately $100,000. That's a huge chunk of our budget. The other delay that we had was, and unexpectedly, was delay in obtaining permits and inspections for anything that we were doing. So the cost involved there is any ongoing on-site costs and also the off-site cost for temporary office space. You really need to keep this buffer in mind when you have your project. So the interior of the building is completely finished. Now, weather last fall kept us from finishing the exterior of the building, so outside is still a work in progress. We're still finishing off parts of improving the front deck, the courtyard at the back, and signage. So let's take a look at what happened inside. This boardroom happens to be one of my favorite rooms in the whole building. Previously, the doors were a really awkward bifold doorway, and there really isn't enough space for a man door to open into the hall or into the room. So we selected these really creative sliding doors with frosted glass on them, and it is one of the first things that clients mention that they love when they come into this building. Let's have a look. So this is the boardroom. Initially, this wall opened into the owner's private office and was really useless. So what we did is we closed off the wall and we had custom built cabinets done for this entire wall. We have enough room in this boardroom to have both a boardroom table and a private one-on-one sitting area for, shorter, more casual discussions. Also in the boardroom, we put up a screen or a monitor here that staff members, when they're meeting with clients, they can display files or presentations directly from the boardroom table right up into the screen to make it easier to have a discussion with a client. The other item is the floor. We chose this hardwood. It's a really lovely sort of mid-tone color that adds a little bit of warmth to the whole room. Next stop, main hall and reception. So the main hall and the reception get a lot of traffic every day. The tile that I chose for this hall, and I continued into the reception, has a little bit of grip to it. So clients and staff coming in on a little bit of a wet day won't find it slick. In our small foyer here, I chose this gray and black mosaic tile to play off of the larger floor tile and really just add a little bit of punch and intrigue to this area. Interestingly enough, this glass door was the only interior door that we could salvage from the home itself. And what I love about this, it's got this etched glass, very playful pattern, just adds a little bit of levity to the whole area. Let's have a look at the reception area. So this is the reception. It's a very compact but very efficient workspace here. And we also have room for these 2 cozy leather chairs for guests. You're going to notice throughout the building that we've selected art themed around Hamilton. And we chose a local artist named Dylan Swan, who really has themed the majority of his artwork on the 100-year-old Round the Bay road race. So now let's check out the owner's office. Okay. So now we're in the owner's office. Before it was a bit small and cramped, so we relocated a closet and a powder room. And we were able to provide him with more space to create this one-on-one small casual meeting area for him. We also closed off this wall that backs onto the boardroom and had custom-made cubbies and bookcases here for him. What was really important to the owner was his desk. And there's a bit of a story to this, but he was on a personal trip to Boston. He happened upon this lovely desk set that was from Indonesia. And he just knew he had to have it. So there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of hoops to be jumped through, but finally we were able to get this desk here. It's, as I said, from Indonesia, made from Indonesian wood, and it provides him with a very large workspace. He loves it. So with the combination of the finishes in both the paint, the flooring, this is really become a true executive office. Our next stop is the mailroom. So this is the mailroom. It's really a multifunctional room. It functions as a kitchenette, as a photocopier and mail sorter room, and there's even a powder room and a mudroom that comes off of it. So this is a custom-built storage for the copy room, and they put office supplies, copying paper in it, and it really complements all the other bookcases and cubbies that you see on the main floor. Let's have a look at the second floor. It's where the majority of staff work. This second floor is where the majority of the staff work. In this area, it's our bookkeeping area. So we were able to take down a wall that had a very small storage area and really open it up for the bookkeeping staff. On the second floor, the third floor, and in the basement, we chose carpet instead of hardwood because of the noise. People walking around the second and third floor, you won't hear the noise on the main floor. And we chose a carpet tile, which was a great idea because if you have a spill, a stain in a small area, you don't have to tear up your entire carpet. You just pull one tile and have replacement tiles. The other reason that we chose carpet was for noise. It really deadens noise of people walking around on the second and third floor when you're working on the first floor. And each office has their own set of custom-built cubbies to help them store files when they're not working on it or any other pieces of information that they need to keep close at hand. Also on this floor are two private offices, one here and the other to my right. We also have a staff bathroom on this floor and a sorely needed second meeting room. And now we'll look at our top floor, the third floor. So the third floor is mostly for future growth. However, we built this lunchroom for the staff here, which is really bright and airy. And they also have a casual sitting area. So on this third floor, besides the lunchroom, there are 3 other areas for future growth and future offices. So this little area here I like to call the turret room, and this happens to be my second favorite room in the whole building. It's just this really cozy, comfy area with a high ceiling that you can overlook everything. We're now in the basement level, and this area is really used for file storage. But during restoration, we noticed that there was some deterioration in the floor in this area. So again, another unknown expense where we had to repair and restore some foundation work, pour new concrete in this area. We again chose the carpet tile for this area down here, just because of budget and because of noise. Also in the basement, there is another powder room, our IT room, which sort of centralizes all of our servers and security, electronics that we need. And we even finished off the utility room where we drywalled and put some pot lights in that room. All in all, the project was a success. The owner loves his new office. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like it too. As I think back to what we went through during this process, I think there's several key learnings that you can take away for any projects that you have in your future. The first one is to have a really good understanding of what you want or what your client wants, and that's having open communications right from the get-go with all the key players involved, the owner, the designer, if there's a contractor involved. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Number 2 is set a realistic budget. And don't forget to put in a very generous buffer. Keep in mind that 100 grand extra that we had to spend on structural improvements. Also, set a very realistic timeline. And make sure there's milestones along the way that you can measure your progress. And if you're constantly slipping from those milestone dates, get on top of the contractor or designer, whoever is overseeing this, and find out why. Be willing to compromise is number 4. Things will happen along the way, it's guaranteed. So as you go along and you reach these hurdles, really be willing to compromise from what you might have wanted to what is going to be more realistic, and trust in your contractor and designer that they can come up with a resolution and a solution for everything that comes along. And the last item is, if you need help, we're always here to help you. So you can give us a call and we can help you with your project. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, it's Maggie from 4 Show Staging.